Hi, friends. Thank you for taking a moment from your busy schedule to watch this video. I am super excited for you. I am looking forward to sharing with you how you can stay calmly confident even when someone is trying to disturb your inner peace. And I'm going to share this in 3 steps, the 3 steps for being able to do this without feeling guilty, embarrassed, or afraid. And yes, it is possible to be able to be calmly confident in all types of situations. I know this from experience. I am super excited to share these 3 steps, these 3 keys with you. Now, my goal for you is for you to say goodbye to living on an emotional roller coaster in your relationships and say hello to more peace and confidence. Does that interest you? Are you ready to say hello to more peace and confidence? If that is the case, then you'll want to stay all the way to the end to get the keys. And I'm going to also be sharing with you a confidence boost game and how you can get that. So stick with me and let's go. Now, I'd like to just introduce myself to you really quickly so you know a little bit more about who I am, and I want you to feel comfortable, here in this space virtually, this virtual space. So my name is Beth Brown, and I am curious. I love adventures, especially a good road trip adventure. I am a foodie. Food is also an adventure to me. I especially love Haitian and Ethiopian cuisine. I've always been an encourager. It is something that has been a gift of mine for as long as I can remember. I remember even going back into my middle school years, quite a few years ago, and encouraging friends, all the way back then. And another fun thing about me, and if you're not American, this might not be a big deal, but in America, it's not that common. I can drive a 5-speed, a manual transmission. Yes, it is. They're so much fun. If you've ever driven one, you know how fun they are to go around curves. So maybe we have some things in common. Now, I'd like to start out on a positive note, right? We've all done a lot of things right. I have done a lot of things right in my life. For example, I have happy lifelong friendships. My best friend and we have been friends for over 20 years. And I have friends that I still chat with. We don't live anywhere near one another geographically, but we're still in communication all the way back from elementary school. So, that is something I have done right, is being able to cultivate lifelong friendships. I'm not afraid to start over. At one point in my life, I was living in Rochester. Now I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I moved within a month. I was not afraid to just pack up someplace where I was established and move to a new city where I literally did not know one living soul. I knew no one when I moved here, but I knew that it was the best step for me to take, and I wasn't afraid to just start all over from scratch. And I also, one way that I have released my emotions since childhood is through writing poetry. So that is something that I have done that has been very healthy and healing for me over many years, most of my life. However, I've also done a lot of things wrong. Yeah. So let's have an honest conversation, shall we? So here's the deal. I was living on an emotional roller coaster in my relationships for over 20 years, mostly in my dating relationships, if I'm going to be honest with you, right? And I think that's important, don't you? So speaking of honesty, what I discovered, one reason why I was on this emotional roller coaster for over 20 years in relationships, particularly with dating, but it was also in some of my friendships that were not healthy for me to be in. I discovered I wasn't being honest with myself. Yeah, that was a deep one for me. I also discovered that forgiveness is a superpower, and it was my superpower. Yes, it is. Forgiveness is a superpower. And I discovered boundaries and expectations are not the same thing. And you might be like, Beth, what are you talking about? Of course, everyone knows this. I didn't. And maybe this is something that you also either know or don't know, right? So here's the thing. I learned this because, like I said, it was 20 years of me allowing myself to be on emotional roller coasters in relationships. I learned these things the hard way, the painful way. And here's the thing. I don't want anyone to spend the next 20 years of their life trying to figure out how to get things moving and get off that emotional roller coaster. I want to help you benefit from my painful lessons that I've learned and get the easier way to healing, to getting inner peace, to being confident. So are you ready? Are you ready to learn from my mistakes? Now, here is hard things, hard truths I learned. The hard way of healing, the hard way of being in relationships, the hard way of showing up, trying to get confidence, but not real confidence, pushing through the pain, positive thoughts only. Have you ever heard that? Fake it till you make it. That's a popular one. Waiting for closure and false expectations about praying. And that means it's going to be okay if you pray. If you are like me and you are having come from a Christian background, you grew up in churches, you know that that's what they teach most places. Just pray and it's going to be fine. Blessed and highly favored. These things sound familiar? Well, there's way more to it, right? There's way more to it than that. And that was something that was holding me back. And I didn't know that. These are hard lessons I learned. So if you still want to know the easier ways that will help you to say hello to more peace and confidence within yourself and in your relationships, if you're ready for this, if you want to know more, stay tuned. Here we go. Because here's another hard truth. In the past, I thought what didn't break me only made me stronger. Have you ever thought that? Oh yeah, I made it through that. Here's the thing. I was like, oh, I pushed through that. I just powered right on through. Look at me. You wouldn't know what I've been through. And yes, God is good. But here's the thing. The result was I was not really strong inside. I was thinking I was, but I was functioning in anxiety. I was terrified of being open in relationships. This included friendships with other Christians in particular, as well as dating relationships, because I never felt perfect enough. I never felt quite good enough. I always found myself holding my breath, waiting for the next bad thing to happen. I'd meet someone, it's like, okay, when's the shoe gonna drop? When's this gonna go bad? I couldn't stop living in my head. Have you experienced that, where you're living in your head anxiously, just waiting for the next thing to happen? Now, what I'm going to be sharing with you about my healing and how I have been able to find and keep inner peace, no matter what someone else is doing or what the situation is, My results are not typical. And the reason is because of focus, commitment, and consistency. Yes, these three things are required for true transformative healing. If you really want to stick with it, you really want to see that change, that transformation happen in your life, you really are looking to live your life and the relationships calmly, peacefully, confidently, you need to stay focused, committed, and consistent with your healing process and the keys that I'm about ready to share with you. Because if focus, commitment, and consistency is not something that you're willing to do, then you're going to be still up and down on that roller coaster. All right. And I'm repeating that because it's so important. Now, here are the three keys that are important to focus on consistently. Okay. Key 1, be honest. Key 2, forgive. Key 3, establish boundaries. So let's go a little bit deeper into each one. Are you ready? Key 1, honesty. Now, I want to share a little bit about how telling what I thought was a tiny lie, how it destroyed my self-esteem completely. There is no such a thing as a tiny, harmless lie, I have learned from my personal experience. And think about it. When you listen to my story, you also might be able to relate in a different way. So what happened was in 2016, the spring of 2016, I was raped in my own home, in my kitchen, by someone who I had recently ended, we will call it a situationship with. Now, I thought back to what I just shared with you earlier about let me push through the pain, let me fake it till I make it. There was someone else who I had recently become acquainted with or reacquainted with. And I said, you know what? I deserve to have a happy relationship. I deserve love. Well, I didn't really think I deserved that because actually after the physical trauma that I went through, I felt very disgusting and I didn't actually want to be in my own body. But I wanted to pretend that I deserved these things and I did want them. But I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. And in particular, because this new man that I had recently met, he was Christian. And I was like, oh, well, I'm clearly not pure and I'm clearly not perfect. And like, look at who I allowed to even have access to me, right? I had all this shame. So I said, well, he can't know everything that I've been through. So let me just kind of tell him. So I told him, you know, I was in a sensitive place at this point in time in my life. I had recently gone through a very abusive experience with someone who I had been dating. And I tried to explain to him a little bit. And I said that this former person had attempted to sexually assault me. Now, rape and attempted sexual assault, not the same thing. It was a teeny tiny lie. But what it did, the self-confidence, the self-esteem, what I had left about my identity was that I was a woman of integrity. And while I had not always been willing to be open in my relationships and I might avoid questions or kind of make detours and try to avoid getting really close or intimate in my dating relationships, I had never lied. I had always prided myself on being a woman of integrity and telling the truth. And so what happened when I told this teeny tiny lie that I was thinking at the time was no big deal to this new man, the one thing that was left about myself that I felt good about, my integrity, was gone. And it destroyed my entire remaining self-esteem. I cannot tell you how bad I felt about myself from this lie because I was not honest. I was not honest with myself. I was not honest with God. I was not honest with this new person about what had really happened to me. I wanted to pretend it had not existed. Key 2, forgive. All right. Now, remember, forgiveness is a superpower. There are all sorts of false teachings about how to find inner peace when it comes to forgiveness, especially in the church. Forgive and forget. Just pray, release. It's going to be okay. Well, here's the problem. It's not just like a forgive or forget thing. Sometimes we really have to work through the heartbreak, the disappointment, whatever it was. It could be something minor or it could be something major. So let's see how forgiveness can heal and bring your spirit inner peace. So here's some stories, some testimonials about how I've helped others find their inner peace in working together with them. So Josh said, Beth really targets specific steps towards forgiving yourself and others through different exercises and music and media. I found it more helpful than 5 years of therapy. I am going to continue working with Beth in her private coaching sessions. I recommend Beth Brown's approach very highly. As you can see from his testimony, there were steps that I was leading him through to take, specific steps, different exercises to just work through and release, right? Another person who I have worked with, Kim, she shared that she learned unforgiveness, no matter what level of intensity it seems to be, can be an invisible killer and thief. That's right. Even something very small, if it's not dealt with, it can steal your peace. And she learns that a lifestyle or mindset of consistent forgiveness, consistency, remember that word? Forgiveness unlocks doors to blessings and a life of freedom and peace. And this is not just for Kim. This is not just for Josh. This is for you as well, right? Getting your inner peace. This is meant for all of us. This is a gift we can give ourselves. Key 3, establish boundaries. Now, here's the thing. Highly successful people who are happy and calm, not running around like chickens with their heads cut off, set boundaries and not expectations. Expectations can lead to, let me just backtrack a little bit. They can lead to anger. They can lead to frustration. They can lead to negative things, stress. So let me give you an example. If, say, you are either a small business owner right now, or you're thinking of starting your own business, and you expect to become successful, that's your expectation. You're like, I am going to be a successful entrepreneur. This can be very stressful if you just focus on that expectation. Instead, what you want to do is use that expectation of success to set a time boundary, for example. You make a boundary where you reserve 1 hour every day to complete a task that will grow your business. What is your focus on? Your focus is on your boundary. Your focus is on, for example, every day from 7 to 8 o'clock in the evening, I'm sitting down and I'm working on some task, however small it is, each day to do something that's going to push my business forward, that's going to level my business up. And this time boundary will allow you to focus on completing the various tasks that grow your business. And as you're growing and expanding and leveling things up in your business, guess what's going to naturally happen? You're going to become each day more successful in your business. And over time, you are going to actually enjoy the process of growing your business rather than feeling stressed out because you're focused on it has to be successful. You're committed to the boundary of that time every day rather than the expectation. And so this way you are keeping your inner peace. Isn't that awesome? Now, here's an example of how I was able to help someone do that. So Jay said working with Beth was so very helpful. She had detailed weekly plans to tackle specific issues. Each week, we reviewed the previous week and then moved forward with a different action plan. Thank you. So what really I was doing and helping Jay to work through was applying his new knowledge from our work together, for example, about setting boundaries. And because of that, guess what? He is now living his dream. He was able to move from Brooklyn to LA, and he's working there now on the West Coast as an actor and musician. And that was after working 3 months together with one another, where I was working with him through this, right? Isn't that exciting? I'm so excited for him. I'm so proud of him, right? But this can also be you. So now, in the past 25 minutes or so, however long it has been that I've been sharing this information with you, would you agree it's been time well spent so far? So, of course, as you know, I can't cover everything that you need in this short training, even if we had all day. But I do have a special offer for you so that you can get everything you need to know about how to stay calmly confident, even when someone disturbs your inner peace. And now, if you act fast, I'm going to give you a very special deal. Are you ready? Are you ready to learn a little bit more about how you can stay calmly confident, even when someone disturbs your old peace? How else I could help you potentially, work through this, because old thought habits do die hard. And I do want to help you avoid like the 20-year process I went through of trying to get off emotional roller coasters, or the 10 or the 5 years process even, and learn how in 3 ways, 3 steps, you can transform your mindset and say hello to more peace and confidence within yourself and within your relationships. So what I have put together is a 3-step program. Yes, I do things in threes. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit, why I choose to do things in groups of 3s. 1, 2, 3. You ready? So the program I have is Seeing Myself in a New Light. Begin healing and redefining your identity after trauma or heartbreak in 3 steps. This is a self-love transformational program. It's for Christian women and men looking to flourish and live their life regally as God intended. So here are a few things that you will learn in this program. How to break free from shame and repeating patterns in your life. How to feel worthy of love and make peace with painful memories. How to break free from perfectionism or feeling unworthy, otherwise known as imposter syndrome. How to love yourself as the masterpiece you are and experience freedom from a heavy heart. Now, I do this in 3 steps. Now, remember, I am a Christian confidence coach, and we as humans, I believe, because I believe the Bible, are 3-part beings because we were created in God's image. Now, there's God the Father, God the Son, and there's also the Holy Spirit. Similar to that, we as humans are 3-part beings. We soul, spirit, mind, body. So what I have done is broken this program into 3 steps to deal with each part of yourself, right? And that's what makes it different, because a lot of times, if you have been a lot of times to conferences, church conferences, or even just church services, a lot of it's just taking care of the spirit. And it's forgetting like the thought patterns that we have, those thought habits that like, why won't they just go away? Why do I keep having these thoughts? Why do I get stuck in like a negative pattern, whatever? There's the heart healing, which has to do with our spirit. And then there's the physical part, which also is not a lot of times taught in churches. So step 1 is for thought healing, thought transformation. So beginning to form new thought patterns, how to do that, how to not really see the old thought patterns. I know I said negative earlier, but it's not really even a negative thing. Just how to see it all, gaining a new point of view, okay? And begin to love yourself and begin to break free from those feelings and those thoughts of shame, all right? Step 2 is heart healing. This is moving into a place of forgiving yourself, forgiving other people, and something that's also rarely talked about is forgiving God. A lot of times we have a lot of anger and unforgiveness towards God, and we have to, as I had mentioned earlier, be honest about these things. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to heal. And in this step, we also talk about things like spiritual warfare. All right. And step 3, physical healing, because we are here in a physical world. I am sitting right now in a physical space talking to you virtually, but I have physical surroundings. I'm sitting in a chair right now, right? So talking about the physical healing of our lives, which is so important as well. Now, if you're interested in this, seeing yourself in a new light, step 1, see with thought healing. Step 2, inside, heart healing. Step 3, greatness. Because when you are thinking differently, when you are in your spirit at peace, confident peace, right? You're beginning to shine your new confident inner light out into the world as greatness, as the royalty regally that you are. You can show up. So here's what you do. Simple. You just click either the link below this video, or you can click right here on the slide to book a free one-to-one chat with me, consultation with me. That's it. You're going to click the link, and that link will take you to a page where you will be able to set up a time to chat with me. I can find out if a little bit more about you and if I can actually help you, if my program is a good fit for you. And if it's not, I am more than happy to provide you with resources that I feel could put you onto the path more directly that you are looking to go in. So, let's chat. Let's chat about how you can say goodbye to that emotional roller coaster you've been on, in particular with your relationships. And remember, your most important relationship is even with yourself. So even getting off that emotional roller coaster with yourself and feeling that peace and that confidence consistently every day, right? So does that sound good to you? Does that sound like something you want to experience? Because if it is, then just click the button, click the link below, and let's chat. Oh, and about the free gift, yes, I am happy to send that to you as well. That link will be embedded in your consultation. So when you sign up for a free consultation with me, you're going to get a receipt. And in that receipt, there's a link that will take you to the self-confidence boost game. And it's fun, and it's going to help you as well, have some strategies, some tools for being confident and having your peace and maintaining it no matter what is going on around you. So I just want to end with this final thought. If no one has told you today yet that they love you, I want to say that I love you and God loves you, and you are amazing and significant. All right. Peace.